Hi guys, welcome back to Wynter Tai Chats. And before we get into it, let me ask you to hit that subscribe button and hit that like button. In today's chat, it's with a teacher of traditional Northern Chinese martial arts, namely Baji Chuan. He is a disciple of Grandmaster Changlin Chen and is headmaster of the Wutan Chinese Martial Arts Center in New Jersey. Tasked with spreading these traditional arts, he has found much success in doing so in the online arena, sharing his knowledge with students throughout the world. Please welcome Sifu Vincent Mei. How are you doing, sir?
Doing good, doing great. Thank you for having me.
Hey, thank you very much, sir. Thank you very much for even agreeing to come onto the channel. I am very honored by your presence, sir. So let's go ahead and get into the interview. Sifu Mei, how did you start the martial arts?
I started martial art, always had an interest of it, but never got the formal introduction through it. I dabbled in Taekwondo when I was in elementary school, did a little bit of Muay Thai in high school, but really when I started was in the college, in freshman year in college. I met a fellow classmate who came from Taiwan and who has learned 7-star praying mantis from authentic 7-star praying mantis teacher in Taiwan. And he showed me a few moves. I was on the ground and wanted to learn the techniques. And I've been training with him after school, after classes. Then one day he came to me and said very excitedly, he's like, "Hey, look what I found in Chinatown." This was in New York. Chinatown, there's a Eastern bookstore. He found this Baji Chuan book. I never heard of Baji Chuan, but it lingered in my head. I remember the name of the style, which he made a whole big deal about. Then one time my father saw an ad that was in the local Chinese newspaper saying that there's this big master, Chen Changlin, is opening up a branch, a dojo, a school in the next town over. And then I called my friend and we both went to that school. And ever since we've been learning from Master Chen till the day he passed away. And then we continued to carry on the school. And later on we became a Kung Fu brother. We went through the induction ceremony and we became the indoor disciple of Master Chen.
That's awesome. That's awesome. So did you've been with Master Chen the whole time since you started?
Yes.
But in that time, has there been any other martial arts experience with any other styles, Southern styles, or?
Not from learning. Obviously, everyone came from all my peers and or students or different Kung Fu brother came from different backgrounds, and that's how we have encountered different styles, but mostly Northern styles. Some Wing Chun. Wing Chun is probably the most exposure in terms of Southern styles. But other things such as Hung Gar or Pak Mei, like the general Southern styles, didn't have much opportunities with, but mostly Northern. But within our lineage, because our curriculum follows our Grandmaster Liu Yunqiao. He is my teacher's teacher. His life martial art journey, went about, Long Fist to Mi Zong Quan, and then to Baji Chuan, Pi Gua, Liu He Tang Lang, the 6 harmonial mantis, and then Ba Gua Zhang. So these were his martial art journey throughout his life. So we in Wutan we're required to learn all these styles as well.
Okay, that's awesome. That's awesome. And it's an absolute badge to your credit, Sifu Vincent, that you could actually retain the knowledge of all of these styles, because that's a lot. Baji Chuan, Pi Gua Chin, whichever you said, the 6 harmony mantis you said as well.
Yeah.
Wow, that's quite a lot. That's quite a lot. So, with all of your experience, especially being under Grandmaster Chen, right? I do feel very confident asking you this question. What is Baji Chuan?
Baji Chuan is a ancient style. Chinese martial art evolved through history and derived into many different styles. Baji Chuan is a Northern style. originated from Changzhou, or I shouldn't say originated, because people move around, people carry their skill moving around. It was most traceable from Changzhou. It's in Hebei province in China. It's a very rural area where you can't really grow crops. So a lot of bandits, people wants to make a living, they have to practice martial art. So Changzhou, this county, everyone practiced martial art. So a lot of famous styles all originated from this county. Bajichuan was one of them. Bajichuan, the characteristic of it is its directness. I just left a message somewhere on Reddit basically describing Bajichuan is basically when you have no time to parry, no time for trapping, no time for even striking, that's Bajichuan. You're basically, you're ramming in all things that matters. You use the 8 parts of your body, practicing a lot of Fajin, which is a lot of power. You overwhelm your opponent from your integrated strength, starting from the ground. Bajichuan also has a nickname called the bodyguard style. And because it's really no bullshit, no parry, no time for parrying, striking, trapping, all that stuff. So it was most suitable for bodyguards for the last emperor of China, Puyi, Mao Zedong, the communist leadership, Chiang Kai-shek, who was Mao Zedong's lifetime rival, and also these 3. So these 3 recent Chinese history leaders, all their bodyguards were trained under this style, Bajichuan. Yeah.
Wow. So that definitely speaks to its effectiveness.
Yes.
Right? Which would have been my next question for it. Is it a practical style for fighting? And you definitely answered that one, sir.
Yeah. When it comes to practicality, Bajichuan is, I would say, is practical, just because it invades. Its characteristic is it's very, very direct, very aggressive. It's one of the few styles in Chinese martial art that is very offensively driven. A lot of Chinese martial art inherited the Chinese philosophy, which is very center-driven, right? So we call it Zhongyong. It came from Confucius. So that mindset is seeded into every Chinese, even if we don't admit it, it's in our culture. Like the way we behave, it's very humble, like humbling is a virtue, all that stuff. It causes the martial art to also behave that way as well. How often do you hear that, okay, if someone punched me, if someone shoved me, if someone do this, what do you do? Tai Chi is a very good representative of this philosophy. You redirect. Right, you redirect the upcoming force. Bajichuan is a few style that goes center line driven, right? So we have a center line. You just go in the door. You don't come to the side. You don't try to evade. You just go center line in. So in terms of that, the practicality is basically there. You very offensively mindset when you attack, and I would say it's on the practical side, or else the presidential guard wouldn't be adopting the style. Yeah.
Very good point. So that directness that you're talking about, that straightforwardness, would it be similar to Xini?
Very similar. Good point. So a lot of Chinese martial art evolved from weapons, battlefield weapons, between the transition between dynasties. The previous dynasty, obviously, whoever survived, the new dynasty wants to basically slaughter all the previous dynasty's martial artists, especially martial artists, the generals, the soldiers, because they have the potential to rebel. And a lot of these former dynasty soldiers or generals, they have to hide for their lives, so they basically disguise in the civilian as a civilian, or went into temples for religious protection. So, but then they have all they're martial artists, so they want to pass down this knowledge, whether or not it's for rebellion's purpose. In the South, a lot of Southern style also tie in with this sort of purpose as well. But For battlefield, a lot of them, their skills are spears, are sabers, dao, a lot of these weapons. But the new government didn't allow, legally, they don't allow them to use carry weapon around. So they taught them empty-handed. Hence the 形意拳, hence the 八极拳, both of these styles were evolved from spears. And you were right about the similarity between the two. And 八极拳and 形意拳, in my opinion, they're almost like cousins. And they have that inheritance from the spear techniques and mindset.
Awesome. That's absolutely incredible, man. That's absolutely incredible. My knowledge of Baji Chuan is so minute. I mean, I've never even really heard about it before. That's why I had to literally ask you. And as I found you, I was like, okay, he has to be the one to teach me about Baji Chuan. Well, thank you for that. And also tell me about its practicality and proving it as well. So the next question I have for you is, what is, in your opinion, the hardest part of developing Kung Fu?
Developing what, sorry?
Kung Fu.
Kung Fu, all right. Patience, time. The word Kung Fu means time, right? So it's precision that you train from repeating skill, movements, or whatnot, tens of thousands of times over and over through a long period of time. Then you develop Kung Fu or Gong Li, right? So this is, in my opinion, that translates to the ability to control, precision of timing, distance, power, right? So power doesn't necessarily mean strong power. In Tai Chi, you actually practice for decades to train to develop no power, right? So the ability to control strength, control speed, control timing in a hyper precise way, that is Kung Fu. And I think the hardest part is patience, because you really need time, devoting time into training in order to get this. I know we're living in the modern age. There are a lot of new knowledge, science in training, in health, dietary, nutrition, all that stuff. You can optimize training methods, especially back in the days. Like a lot of teachers, they want to test a disciple's personality, because these were literally skills to kill. So they have to make sure they teach the right person. They spend a lot of time trying to see the person's righteousness and what is he worthy. But in the modern days, we can say that we can maybe shorten that a little bit, because there's law, there's legal, so we cannot go out and use this skill to mess around. So we can shorten that time, and through the modern knowledge and we're able to shorten and optimize the training time. However, it still requires the practitioners to put in the devotion and time to practice, to train. There's no shortcut. Yeah.
And all of that requires patience, as you do say.
Yeah.
Awesome. That's a very masterful answer right there, Sifu. So, okay, let's go ahead and flip that question, right? And let's go ahead and put it particularly about Baji Chuan, right? In terms of the style itself. So a new student learning Baji Chuan, right? Is there one thing that's particularly hard for them about Baji Chuan to learn?
Yeah, of course, it's pain. Baji Chuan is very painful. It's painful to train. It's very, very much required a lot of the lower body training. Yeah, it's painful. So you there's no pain, no gain, right? So you have to go through, different from, I would say especially different from other styles. There's no other ways to emphasize on techniques. It's a this and that. A lot of styles say they focus on techniques, this, that, like a lot of the hand feel, whether it's structure or whatnot. But Baji Chuan is all legs. I would say it's 80% legs. Legs doesn't mean kicks, it just means that leg support. We want to train one leg is as strong as people's two legs. so that when you're up against, when you receive a force or going against a force, your one leg is strong enough to go against, and he will be busy going against your one leg, and you have another leg to trip, to go in, to occupy their space. So that itself is requires a lot of lower body training. So it's painful. Yeah.
Okay. So I guess in terms of Baji Chuan, the saying, the age-old saying of northern kicks and southern fists, right, just doesn't really translate to really kicks. It's more, as you say, like trapping and stuff.
Yes, the thing about northern legs, I don't want to talk too much about the southern styles, about the southern fist, but the northern legs really talk about, the leg work that is not kicks. So 形意拳, for example, 三盘齐道, 八卦掌, 三盘齐道. All these northern styles, their requirements when you attack, it's the whole body attack, right? So it's not just you're punching, it's the whole body going in, occupying space. So in order to do that, you need very strong legs to translate through your spine, through your arms, to really, upon a touch, that whole structural power gets delivered. So that's because of the leg work, the leg strength. Yeah.
Oh, that's awesome. That's awesome. So I'm Baji Chuan. It's the more you speak about it, Sifu, it's the more I feel like I want to learn something. I want to learn this. It's so direct. I'm loving the description of it. And everybody watching, I do implore you, I definitely encourage you to go and watch a video on Baji Chuan. It is incredible. It's an incredible style. So continuing onwards. So with all of your martial training with Grandmaster Chen, I do have to ask, how has that training influenced your professional as well as your personal life?
Oh yeah, totally. Master Chen is a unique individual. He is a computer science PhD from NYU. He's highly educated, very smart guy. Based on everything he talks about is based on science. His family background is all like scholastic, right? And his father was I don't know if I'm able to say this, but I think it's been such a long time. His father was a spy, like a real spy. So his family background sort of influenced him, and he obviously influenced a lot of us, his disciples. So we're very much. He always talks about when you train martial arts, it will change influence your poise, your charisma. Like how when you step out to speak or speak public speaking, he always talk about that. Like when you're performing, when you're leading a team or whatnot, you should be like a general, right? So he always mentioned that we don't train, learning martial art, you don't train soldiers, you train generals. You want to train somebody who can fight 1,000, not 1-to-1 or 1-to-2. So it's really the mindset, the strategy that we're training with through martial art training. So the discipline and all that stuff. With all that said, it definitely had a direct influence in my career. The precision, the responsibility, the directness. Definitely the directness because of Baji Chuan. Me and a couple of students from Italy, we were just talking about. They were telling me, reflecting to me that how when they started to learn Baji Chuan, their personality changed. So. It's more direct with the way they approach things, the way they say things. I think that all relates to how they think, right? So they become more direct in terms of how they approach things. And that definitely affected my management skills. I run a marketing agency for 15 years. And that's basically created the company culture. There's no hierarchy, it's very flat line, every communication is very straightforward. We don't do that, sort of going around, no egos and that sort of stuff. It definitely approach how I do new business, how I do sales, how I do, our work, our production, how I manage. So definitely heavily influenced.
Yeah, so I can only imagine if it's with such an influence in the professional life, it must have definitely carried over into the personal life. So am I correct in saying so? The same kind of assertiveness and directness, right? Yes, very good, very good, very good. So carrying on, Sifu, right? Here's a little of a mind twist, okay? Because I always get this. Everybody I ask this question gets a big old smile and they're like, "Oh, really? Just one?" Okay, so here we go. If you could teach the new generation of martial artists only one thing, right? Whether it be technique, it could be philosophy, what would it be?
If I can teach only one thing, that one thing would be the legwork, I would say. Structure, right? Structure is everything. And yeah, how do, because a lot of people say power comes from the ground, but very few people can actually generate and deliver power from the ground. And I think that is the key to differentiate traditional Chinese martial art with all the other styles, is that rootingness. Right. So if there's one thing that is separating Chinese martial art with the others, is that root. A lot of people don't understand that. That's why they would compromise. They feel lack of power, and they would compromise it, and then just by start going MMA. Right. MMA meaning like mixed martial art. Let me take this from here. Let me take that from there to compensate. And at the end of the day. Not that it's bad. I mean, MMA is definitely a good idea. I think that's, the traditional Chinese martial art has always been the mindset of mixed martial art. But just that, without this rooting, you will need to compensate from a lot of things. Then you lose the core of Chinese martial art. Then that would be the most important piece.
Awesome. The legwork, the structure. Yes, I do understand.
Yeah.
And I do agree with you, Sifu Vincent. That's a great answer. So, we've come to our last question. And, I always say it's probably the most difficult. How can you be contacted?
You said it earlier from the intro, right? So I have a very successful online platform. You're like, most people would be like, how do you teach martial art online, right? I asked the same question, because of pandemic, we develop a method that really works. We have students, over 100 students all over the world, and they're effectively trained. And in many aspects, it's still better than in-person training. So it's not really discounted at all. So we have an online platform called Bajishu, right? BAJISHU, bajishu.com. I think there's a new class still open for the last week. This is the last week. It will remain open, and then we're going to close the registration for this class. So you can find me there. My email is on it. Or if you're in the tri-state area or in New York area, you can find us from wutanNJ.com, Wutan, WUTANNJ.com, right? So my contact is also on it. We train in the city, in Astor Place. In October, we do have a pop-up course just in the month of October. We're teaching Miaodao. Miaodao is this oversized katana, very specialized weapon from Ming Dynasty. So, but we're teaching that in Columbus Park. So if you feel like it, you can definitely feel free to swing by. Welcome to swing by every Sunday morning from 9 to 10:30. But wutanNJ.com, you can find my contact. That's in-person class.
All right, very good. All contact information for Sifu Vincent Mei will be in the description down below. Also in the description down below will be a link for Feiyue shoes. If you need a pair of Feiyue shoes, click the link down below, get the best prices, get the best deals, all at Feiyue shoes. Sifu Vincent Mei, Thank you very much for the time you've taken to speak with me and
Thank you,
teach
Mark.
me about Baji Tuen. It has been real. It has been fun. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mark.